So welcome to your chair yoga class, right? And this is, as I said, your time, so feel free to take what you like, leave out what you don't. So if this is just your time to just sit back and either meditate or sit in silence, that's certainly up to you. E and I will practice. So as you come to your chair, go ahead and find a nice straight spine. And generally speaking, that doesn't mean lounging back in the back of the chair, but to have both feet planted. And for those people like me who are a little bit shorter, may need to come to the full edge of your chair. Right? And you can go ahead and close the eyes. Rest the palms of the hands gently on top of the thighs. Shrug the shoulders down and away from the ears. Parallel the chin to the earth. And just simply be. Right? And so coming to this start of a practice with stillness. And just taking the first few moments of just simply being where there's no other expectation, any other to-do, any distraction, but just to simply be here with you and your breath. And so throughout your workday today, perhaps you've been bombarded with a number of things. Allow this time, this 30 minutes, to be just very simplified. And aligning with today's practice is the first chakra, which is Muladhara. So in essence, basically feeling the connection and safety, which starts at the root, and that's usually at the pelvic floor, so very, very parallel to your chair, right? So in chair yoga, and where you find your seat, majority of the postures will also give you the option to stand up throughout. But as you come to your seat and you feel the connection of the ischial bones connected to the chair, can you feel that lift into the pelvic floor? So those of us, I don't have my glasses on, but we're all ladies, yeah? Okay, and it's dark, I'll just say. It's dark and my eyesight is very strained in the dark. So those of us, especially who have given birth to children and always contracting into that pelvic floor as if you're stopping the flow of urine, right? So feeling that connection, that's your root, that's where it starts, that's the safety and the groundedness. And so perhaps you align an intention with that and you settle into the breath. Just taking a few more rounds of your breath. And if you have the eyes closed, you're welcome to flutter them open, only if you wish. Right? So a lot of times practicing with the eyes closed to simply feel the body as it arrives into any posture. Root down once again into those ischial bones, those divot bones at the base of the glutes, and align the knees and start to lift up that right ankle. So keeping the knees aligned, you'll feel that quad start to fire up and that hamstrings start to lengthen, and you dorsiflex the foot so the toes are pointing towards the nose. And then your exhale releases it down, right? And then each time you move and transition between each side and the next, can you ground down once again into that root, and then inhale, lift up the opposite. And then your exhale releases. So if you have the eyes open, perhaps you reclose them and move with the breath, move in opposite directions. Maybe you add in a circle of the ankle. But as you start to lengthen one side, you can almost feel that pelvic floor activate and tapping into that first chakra. And in yogic philosophy, there are 7 levels. We won't get into them, but the first chakra is where we always start. So taking a few more rounds, maybe this time you evert the ankle, right? Perhaps you've been sitting at your desk all day and the feet are connected to the ground, or you start to tuck the toes behind your chair. Maybe lifting it up and circling through the ankles might start to feel better. as you come back to that neutral spine when you're done with your rounds of lifting up and lengthening through the legs. Hug the lower navel up and in and start to move into that seated cat-cow, right? So you take a big inhale, and then exhale. You can ground the palms into the thighs, and you round through the spine as you tuck the chin into the chest. And then your next inhale, you find that spinal extension, open up across the clavicles. Perhaps you really retract into the upper back, and then exhale, tuck round. Again, at any time, and I always encourage this, is to close the eyes, right? Truly, there's nothing really to see, but opening up where you need. Where do you feel sticky? Where do you need a little bit of extra attention into the body as you've cultivated some aches and pains perhaps throughout your workday? And as you move into your cat and cow, you're always welcome once again to add some organic movements. So whether that's just circling or figure eighting, flexion into the side bodies, it'll feel different for everybody. And again, always bringing that awareness right into that pelvic floor throughout the practice today. And take a couple more rounds. And always moving with the breath, connection. Slowly starting to finish up those rounds of your seated cat-cow. We'll meet you back in your neutral spine, sitting up nice and tall. And then we'll move into a spinal twist. So again, grounding into those sit bones, bring that left hand to the outside of that right knee, and you can grab onto the back of your chair if you wish. Notice what it feels like across the front of the right shoulder. And again, you'll notice that left knee likes to jut out. Can you realign them, ground down into the left side, and open up across the chest? Hug the navel in and find length into the spine, stacking the cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. Feel that sacrum. And then exhale as you come back to center. If you'd like, you can add in a second round of cat and cow. What do you need? Or just simply sit statically. And then when you're ready, starting to get into that spinal twist on the opposite side. So right hand outside that left knee, you can grab the outside, the back of your chair. Notice where it feels a little bit tight, right? So the objective isn't how far the twist you can be, but start to just simply invigorate the internal organs, right? So feeling that liver and getting into detoxification. And then inhale brings you back to center. Right? We'll take a few sun sals modified right here in your chair just to gather a little bit of heat. So from here, bring the arms at the sides, palms facing out, right? Tadasana in your chair, mountain pose, and then inhale as you bring the arms overhead. Perhaps you lift the gaze, and exhale, you can swan dive the hands forward and out, hinge from the hip, and come to a forward fold, Uttanasana. And as you come into this first forward fold, just simply get heavy, right? Lay the belly and the chest on top of the thighs. Let all the tension in the head go. Can you get even longer through the posterior cervical spine and the back of the neck? Whether you take a sway with the fingertips across, up and around, side to side, or you take more of a gorilla posture, flipping the palms up and resting the tops of the hands onto the earth. Might feel good if you've been typing a lot today, so you tend to have this these wrist flexions. What does it feel like when you go in the opposite direction? On your next breath in, come to a half lift so you can rest the hands on tops of the knees, thighs, or shins, whatever feels good. And then exhale as you fold it all the way down. And then inhale, press into the feet and contract into the pelvic floor, lift it all the way up. And then exhale, bring the hands at heart. And we'll do 2 more rounds just like that. So inhale, lift it all the way up. Lengthen side bodies, and then exhale, dive down, forward fold. We'll go right into the half lift here. Breathe in, and then exhale, fold deep. Inhale, lift it all the way up. And then exhale, hands at heart. And we'll do one more last round together. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, all the way down. Inhale, come to that half lift. And then your exhale folds you deep. Inhale, circle it all the way up. And then exhale, hands at heart. And pause right here, close the eyes. Allow some gratitude to seep in, right? This nice pause in your workday. It truly is a nice thing to have. And so as you sit here in stillness, but still with awareness, once again, rooting down into that first chakra and your root. And if the eyes are closed, softly open. And we'll just start off with a warrior one or high crescent lunge. So whether you'd like to stand up, you're welcome to do so. You know the postures, you're welcome to. I have short legs, so I've learned this. After some training, I've learned that gathering right here into the edge of the chair versus this fashion, either way works for you. You can lengthen through that left leg as that right foot comes forward, so my toes only meet the earth. So this variation for me works better so that I can really plant my right foot down, lengthen through the back of that leg, and then you feel that hip extensor activate, right? So you're really getting into that hip flexor and just lengthening it out, and then you actually feel the pelvic floor, right? So with E right over here, she can really feel it as you press into the earth in a standing posture energetically. You're welcome to raise the arms all the way up, shrug the shoulders down in a way, spread the fingers nice and wide. Stay here with that connection into the chair. If you're standing up, I encourage you to perhaps take a few dips down and then inhale, lift it up. Right? So a little work into a lunge. Exhale, strengthen. Inhale, lift it up. And then do once more. Exhale to lower and inhale to rise. Right? And if you're seated, you're welcome to stay seated and then exhale for a warrior two. So again, the corner of the chair, or if you have nice long femur bones, unlike myself, you can just simply turn in your chair. But as you plant the sole of that back foot down, you feel the heel to heel, heel to arch. Again, that right knee still over the ankle, pressing towards the outside, and extend the arms out, right? So really reaching the fingertips in opposition and stay here, or you can flip the front palm and up and back, reversing the warrior. So you feel the stretch across the right rib cage. Nice, you guys, I like it. And then exhale as you come down. And then inhale, come back to Tadasana, mountain. So E, you can just step it up, face the front of the room, palms facing out. Taking a few moments right here before turning onto the opposite side. One more full round of breath. Nice, and if you're going into the opposite side, go ahead and step that right foot back, left foot is forward. And so this time really lengthening through the back side of that right leg. Again, you're welcome to take that heel right over the ball of the foot, or for a more warrior one stance, planting the sole down. So square off through the pelvis so it's facing forward, and then the arms are overhead. Again, you can really feel that pressure and that connection. Again, if you're standing up, you can take a big breath in, and then exhale, micro bend down. Nice, inhale, lift it up. And we can be here energetically even though we're sitting, and then exhale, pull it down. So you can actually feel that pull towards the earth, and inhale as you rise one more time, and then exhale, pull it down. Nice. Inhale, come back to neutral, and then exhale for a warrior two. So as you come to the warrior two, you can plant the sole of that back foot down, press that left knee out, keep the shoulders over the hips, so rather than really reaching forward, stay nice and long. Stay here, flip the front palm up and back. Reverse the warrior, Viparita Virabhadrasana. It should feel good, almost like a good morning stretch in a different sense. And then exhale, come back to that warrior two. Gaze over the front fingertips. And then step it up to Tadasana, mountain pose. Sit up nice and tall. Again, hug the navel into the spine. Keep the core activated. Perhaps you recall an intention. And then we'll move into the nether flow from here. And so wherever you are, you're welcome to stay standing up, or you can stay seated. If you like to stand up from a seated posture, you're welcome to do so. But starting to settle into goddess pose, right? So here in goddess pose, you need a shorter chair, right? They don't make the child type chair. So ideally, the feet should be planted. For me, I'll come up to this, and it's a little awkward, right? These chairs slant back versus they're like level to the carpet. So I just hope I don't fall on my bum, right? So as you sink down, and you can bring the arms out like L's so that the elbow is in line with the wrist, right? So again, you feeling into that pelvic floor, shoulders are over the hips, and you're squeezing the knees out, right? But they're still in line with the toes, and you can feel it right here, and you breathe in. And then exhale, a slight twist to the right. So keeping the lower body exactly as it is, and so that inadvertently you need to press that left hip down towards the earth, and then you inhale, you bring it back to center. I know, it'll hurt you. Ooh. Firing up those quads. Even here in a seated, I don't know if you guys can feel it, right? And then exhale, twist to the left, right? So again, noticing that the twist isn't so conjured up from the low back that you're just torquing the body, but you're just moving in a sense to feel it, engage, and we'll stay here and move with the breath, and then exhale, you twist. Again, we'll be in a different cadence, a different side. Even close your eyes. Welcome to do so. That way you don't feel like you need to be in the same way as your neighbor, right? We always feel like if we're different from our neighbor, we must be doing it wrong, but technically speaking, we are our own entity, right? So a couple more rounds. And when you finish up your round from right to left and left to right, go ahead and come back to center, pause, and then exhale, come to that seat, right? Even work your glutes a little bit and the outsides of the hips. And you can keep the hands right on top of the thighs. Take a moment to just recapture the breath and the intention. And if you chose to keep the eyes open, perhaps you soften the gaze. A nice little glare onto something that isn't moving, one of the squares on the carpet, perhaps. We'll take another grounding posture. Chair pose, right? Chair pose on a chair, Utkatasana, right? So whether you stay connected to your chair completely, you're welcome to do so, but you externally rotate the shoulders and lift the arms up. And there's almost a slight diagonal shape to the spine, right? So the heart's really pressing forward because you're settling the hips back. And you can feel it onto the heels and lift up the toes. So you start to lift up the toes and you start to activate into these muscles right here in the front of the shin. The soleus, the anterior tibialis, all those muscles right there. You can stay right here, or then exhale, you can sweep it back and hover that core. Inhale lifts you up. And then exhale as you sweep it back. Inhale, a couple more, all the way up. And then exhale, sweep it back. One last one. Inhale. And exhale. Nice inhale, come back to that chair pose. Different variation as you're connected. Take a breath in, and then exhale, hands at heart. Sit up nice and tall, and exhale, settle in. And we'll take one last twist. Inhale as you open arm twist. So once again, just like beginning, we had it nice and gentle, and you had your left hand. What does it feel like with extended arms, right? Inhale as you lift it up, and then exhale, twist to the left. those of you who are at the wall, you're welcome to bring hands at heart center for this one. Inhale, and I'll demonstrate that. Exhale, twist. Really press the palms into the earth just so you don't have to put your elbow or wrist to the wall. Inhale back to center, and then exhale, twist to the left. Nice, you guys. Inhale, come back to center, pause. And when you were twisting in that dynamic movement, you may feel the contraction of the pelvic floor. Now you can just release it, release it. Notice the difference. And if you have the eyes closed, softly open. And you're welcome to take tree pose with me, right? So for tree pose this time, you'd like to stand up, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, Tadasana at your chair, sitting up nice and tall. But you can use the chair as your guide support, right? And you can stay connected with the left foot and get light on the right. So many, many options, right? So if you like to use your chair for a little bit of balance, you can just connect the ball of the right foot down and then externally rotate the right hip. This is stage one, right? Connection to the earth, rootedness. That's with your tree pose. And then another option, you can start to connect the bottom of the foot to the inside of the left calf or to the thigh, right? And whatever variation you've chosen, especially if the foot is connected to the left limb, can you really press the left leg into the right foot? Again, this is the most progressive, safe posture of tree pose. And when you're ready, take a big breath in, and then exhale, come back to standing. Neutral spine. And then if you're ready to go onto the opposite side for your tree pose, feel that right foot, all four corners right in there, and then you can start to move into your tree pose on the left side. So you can come to the ball of that left foot and then externally rotate the left knee out. So feel it right here with the femoral head and the acetabulum. Again, many, many options onto the inside of the right calf or the thigh, but never right directly onto the knee joint. Again, that chair is there for you, whether you find a variation, hands at heart, arms overhead, just like tree, reverse namaste, palms together at the back of the scapula, or just simply feel it right here. Soft gaze. Taking a few more moments in your tree pose. And then exhale, release. Nice work. You can come back, right back to your chair. Taking a moment, sit up nice and tall. What is a yoga practice without our seated pigeon, right? So bending into that right knee, and you can bring the ankle right on top of the left thigh. This is seated pigeon, right? Double pigeon for E. And stacking the shins. Flex through that right foot, so you might start to feel it right on that outer hip, getting more into the glutes and the piriformis. You can breathe in right here and then exhale if you like to fold over slightly. But can you stay long through the spine rather than finding that convex shape, right? And protruding the thoracic spine out. Keep it in a neutral position. A little self-assist if you'd like to press that right knee towards the earth to open up a little bit more. And you breathe in. As you lift it back up, and then you can switch sides. If you like, take a few windshield wipers with the knees or stamp the feet onto the floor. And then when you're ready, hike up that left ankle on top of the right thigh, and it'll be different, right? So you may notice that my left knee is up a little bit more. I'm much tighter on my left side than the right. And so this is maybe where you stay, or you can take a big breath in, and then exhale if you'd like to fold over. tightest at the beginning of the pose, but if you breathe in, and then as you exhale, allow that sinking feeling, gravity pulling you towards the earth, you can open up a little bit more. One more round of breath. And at the bottom of that exhale, slowly start to lift the chest, and we'll do one more posture, Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. So you can extend the legs out in front of you. Those of us who are seated, you're welcome to come to the edge of your chair, elongate into the legs and point the toes up towards the sky. And you breathe in, reach the arms overhead, and then exhale. You can even soften into the knees a little bit and fold over both legs. Start to move into our Shavasana here on the chair. So whether you straddle your chair and face the back of a chair to rest your head, whether you come off your chair and choose one at the wall and you just simply sit back into the back of your chair, or do you turn to the side and make a pillow with your arm and just rest your head down, whatever you feel, or even just simply dangle, wrapping or topping the lower body with the upper half, and just simply find some stillness, some rest for the next few minutes before I reawaken. Toes, wiggling the fingers, that soft, gentle movement. When you're ready, meeting me back in that awareness seat. Whether you stay right on the floor or you come back to your seat, sitting up so that both feet are connected to the earth and stacking the vertebral column it's meant to be. Close the eyes. Welcome to bring hands at heart center in prayer position. Thank you so much for joining me. Hoping you have a wonderful rest of your workday, and until we meet again, Shanti.